Hi, good morning. I'm Gordon Bogden. I'm a corporate director and a longtime investment banker and student of the capital markets, and also an engineer geophysicist, spending my entire career actually in the mining game. So it really comes down to looking at changing the mindset a little bit with respect to engagement. And it's not a prescription here. We're not talking about coming in, laying out a term sheet, putting this in front of another group and just negotiating on the back of a piece of paper. That doesn't work. And that's not how this has got to move forward. It really takes sitting down and talking about what's important. Not what do you want, not what do you need, but and it's a very different question if you think about it. What's important to you, to the community, to all the stakeholders? And working through that dialogue. And it's not just for next quarter, next year, the next 10 years, but it's looking out 50 years, even 100 years. Mining has that longevity to it. When the issue of, not an issue, but when you're getting into the discussion of community engagement, and there is a common theme, no matter whether it be here in Canada with the First Nations, or down in South America, down in Africa, or over in Southeast Asia, water seems to be one of the more common themes around. Not only with respect to what's in the water, i.e. toxins, etc. There's a concern about we don't want any pollutants coming into water, or we don't have enough already for our irrigation, for our crops and things. You're going to be taking water away from us. So water, in my observation, is probably 90-95% of the time one of the issues with these First Nations communities, and for the planet, actually. It's really one of the sustainable, everything we need that to sustain everything we have. Every situation is unique, and there's not one magic bullet or pill that you can take that just absolutely solves it all. But it does, it takes dialogue and breaking it down, and having the communication at the proper level too. And there's that level of respect and also that intent, and that we're committed to move this forward together. I do have to say my own observations many times, this industry, I know it, I love it, passion for it, but we're stuck in the 70s sometimes in the way we think. And we were looking at things. Oh, we've always done it this way. And I am an engineer, I can say this. Look, engineers do like things like in this regular process. It's to break out of that box, to challenge, to have the courage to step out and look at other industries as an example of how things get done. But mining as a sustainable business, as an investment business, is long-term, 5 and 10 years out. So you've got to be looking, again, it all begins with that overall strategy and positioning of the business, and what you have to do along the other lines with the other areas within your innovation and community relations to help you move there, and as a shared purpose to get to that, those goals that you're setting for the corporation 10 years out. 15 years out, 20 years out. I think that's one of the nuts we have to break here is opening up that transparency on both sides to allow the dialogue to happen in a much more open forum. And as something that's certainly here in Canada, as we look to engagement with First Nations here and the process that we go through with respect to the three-cornered negotiations with the provinces, with the companies, with the First Nations governments and communities, those are under confidentiality agreements. They're not transparent, and we need to move that forward because we're all moving in the same direction. We're all trying to get to the same end point here. It's evolved now in some areas to being, as I said, very, very transparent, very open. Others, though, still not there. They're still at that term sheet stage that I said at the outset, where you're putting in, here it is, here's the agreement, what do you think about this? Let's go, this is how we're going to do it. Again, that doesn't work. It's mutual economic benefit, shared benefit, generating businesses, generating sustainability, so that the community itself is going to continue long beyond the resource development. I'm a skier, I used to race skiing, and I race cars a little bit, and there you've always got to be looking up. 2 and 3 gates ahead racing, or in ski racing, and far around the corner in road racing. So looking up allows you to set yourself. Because if you're just looking right ahead of you, you're reacting. You're reacting, and you can't be proactive. You can't set yourself up. So corporately, if you're again building your business, looking ahead, looking out, you can respond more effectively than if it's just, you're not going to be reactive, you can be proactive.